I entered politics as the minister in the government, so cabinet member, basically equivalent here to a secretary. So I was the Minister of Public Administration and Local Government, and as the minister, I became minister in August 2016, and at the time I was invited by at the time Prime Minister, who's currently President of the Republic of Serbia. And as the Minister of Public Administration, I wanted to do everything to change the public administration and change the things that I hated as a citizen. And that was basically waiting in lines, pushing papers on behalf of the public administration. And so the only answer for me was e-government. And I knew that to basically implement the e-government, so meaning everything that could have been done electronically with citizens and businesses should have been done electronically in the 21st century. So I've started a really comprehensive reform of our public administration, and we managed to do, in a kind of short time frame, impressive things, which I liked. But where it got me was that kind of 9 months into my term in the government and in the politics, which was a huge learning curve, because politics, as you can imagine, is much, much different than business, and not in a good way. At the time, the Prime Minister decided to run for the president. We had regular presidential elections, and he won. And he said, we need to have a government reshuffle, and I think you should be the Prime Minister. I was like, my God, I'm in the politics for only 10 months. And so I became the Prime Minister. And then I said, okay, we need to take this kind of digital transformation to a whole new level for the country. And my 3 key priorities were to keep pushing e-government, start the reform of education so that we prepare our youth for the 21st century and the jobs of the future, and economy. And I did not believe in Serbia as the country which relies on labor-intensive investments. I really believed in the country which believes in its people. And we had traditionally very strong STEM education and fantastic, very creative, very innovative people. And so I saw digital as our key advantage in education. I think some of the highlights, to go back to your question, was the June 1st of 2017. When we actually started the e-government. By that time, as the minister, I finished everything. So we could do this automatic electronic exchange of documents within the public administration, so that our citizens did not really have to go from, for example, tax administration to their municipality or local government to exchange information, but they did that between ourselves. And so from June 2017 till today, the public administration exchanged approximately 50 million documents automatically, electronically, by ourselves, being a 100% service to our citizens, meaning that for 50 million documents, our people did not have to go from counter to counter, from one office to the next to get these documents and bring to us. We did it ourselves for them. So that was kind of the first highlight. The second one was 1st of September 2017, when we introduced coding as mandatory subject in our primary schools. No one believed that it could be done, and we have done it. And actually we couldn't have done it by ourselves as the government, but we worked with the private sector and civil society organizations and implemented it. And this year I celebrated, the Prime Minister celebrated the first generation of our primary school kids leaving school with a full knowledge of coding, Scratch, Python, Pygame, Jupyter. And I know that we are so much already now, and no one still sees it. We're so much ahead of almost everyone else in Europe and most of the world that it will come back 100 times the investment that we have made. And then the third thing is that when we kind of laid down the foundation stone for our science and technology park in the southern Serbia, for some reason that is the one that I like the most. But by now, since 2015, now we have as much as 4 science and technology parks across Serbia. And I'll finish with this, I'm not going to bore you anymore, but just an anecdote. What kind of the younger people, the tech people, the leaders of our economy, people who should really be leading our growth, told me is that, before I had like a startup, but my parents and my grandparents would tell me, when are you going to do something serious with your life? And now they're saying, wow, you're leading our economy. So we have completely changed the perception in Serbia, and then those are some of the things that I'm most proud of. And besides, there is kind of this world-renowned report by Startup Genome measuring different countries in terms of their technology development, the specific fields of technology and startup ecosystems. And Serbia was never included into that, so they're just measuring and analyzing the countries that are big in tech. And we were, for the first time ever, included in 2019, and already in 2019, we made it top 10 in the world in 3 categories, top 5 in 2. So top 5 in affordable talent, and blockchain, and amongst the top 10 in gaming. So, it's just so rewarding to see that the country can be changed so quickly, although compared to the US, obviously we're a small country, we're only the country of about 7 million people. But still, to be able to see impact in such a short amount of time is really amazing. And I think, that's, if you're in politics for the right reasons, really that's rewarding. I'm still into politics because of those kind of things. There were basically 2 things to which we owe our success. One is, I think, the fact that we never looked at the vaccination as a geopolitical issue. We always looked at it, what I think it is, and that's kind of a healthcare issue. So we negotiated with both the producers from the West and the producers from the East. And we were one of the first 5 countries in the world to sign contracts with Pfizer-BioNTech, and also the first European country to sign contracts with Chinese Sinopharm, for example. So we were the second country only to the UK, European country only to the UK to get Pfizer vaccines. And so that was part of our success, is that we had enough of the vaccines because we had Pfizer, Sinopharm, Russian Sputnik, UK's AstraZeneca, whereas most of the other countries looked at it as, unfortunately, as a geopolitical issue, so opted for Western vaccines or only Eastern vaccines, to say Russian or Chinese. We did not care as long as the vaccine was safe and effective. And the second part of that story, which is extremely important, this is what is most of the countries are struggling with right now, even if they do have vaccines, is how do you organize this logistically extremely difficult process, because different vaccines are stored at different temperatures and require different kind of logistics to be shipped, and and how do you organize all of that? And so that is where our kind of digitization, the e-government really paid off, if for nothing else. We were able to very quickly establish a kind of an internal IT system whereby our citizens could register for the vaccine. They could also have a kind of a wish list, so they could opt for the vaccine they wanted to receive. And it was easy for us to organize that, and for me as the Prime Minister to also just monitor the whole process real time. So now when I go on my mobile phone, I log in, I know exactly how many people got the vaccine, the first dose, the second vaccine, how many applied, where from, the breakdown by cities and municipalities. So digital really paid off. It really just, made the whole thing extremely efficient and very straightforward, very easy for our citizens. And if there's something positive with COVID, it actually helped our citizens understand how easy it is and what we have been doing throughout of all these kind of 4 years and come to appreciate that. For me, to be very honest, it's easy. It's an easy question. I think everyone should just invest as much as possible into education, and education in terms of listen. The biggest challenge today in education is that we have no idea today what kind of jobs will there be in the future. So you have to try and teach kids how to think instead of what to think. And so when we introduced coding as mandatory subject in the primary school, we did not think that everyone is going to become an IT specialist, or that everyone is inclined to go into the IT. But what this learns is what this teaches to the kids is that algorithmic way of thinking. So it kind of teaches them how to make decisions, causal pathways, so kind of basic reasoning, and I think it's fantastic for the kids. And we also need to empower kids to make decisions and question things. And so what we have also done is we have started digitizing schools. So we have digital classrooms, we have digital textbooks, and to be honest, you can imagine that kids are more versed in these things than their teachers are. So you have the whole new dynamic between the kids and the teachers, and and the teacher, when they get confused about technology, actually the kids show them how to restart something, reboot something, and you empower kids in a very different way. So I think education certainly something that countries really need to invest into. The second thing, very easy, extremely important, is broadband. I mean, to have a high quality internet access in the 21st century, to me, is a basic human right. And you can't expect that people will stay in the communities where they were born in if they can't access internet easily, start up their company, reach markets easily. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Just invest into, in addition to investing in roads and railways, invest into digital roads, and that is something that has to be done to be not just competitive, but to really enable people to live and have equal opportunities in the 21st century. And the third thing is to provide, I would say, infrastructure for startups, because I think that might be, perhaps I'm climbing the wrong hill there, but But I think more and more of the economy will be based on the startups and innovation rather than big companies. So invest into entrepreneurship, build infrastructure for people to just be able to start up their own companies or try new things. So that's my way of thinking. I'm sure I'm right in at least two things. The third one, I'm not sure.
That's
but
the startup mindset. You only need to get a couple right.
We'll see. I think social media is really tough. Fake news is going to be I think it's already the biggest challenge. It's going to remain the biggest challenge, and all of that in the midst of the big thing in the U.S. currently, President Biden saying Facebook is killing people. But I think social media is. I think we're going to have, all of us will have a huge challenge with it. And the issue is how to navigate that challenge and still allow kind of freedom of speech. And I'm struggling with it because I'm kind of, I think I see myself as truly liberal, but at the same time, what someone says or writes needs to have some kind of consequences or accountability. And we lack that accountability right now. It's the biggest challenge that I face, I think, as the Prime Minister right now, especially during COVID crisis when you have really silly news and people, for one or the other reason, believe in it. So I think that's going to be a big challenge. Looking at it also as the opportunity. It is a huge opportunity for the politicians to communicate directly with the citizens. Although it takes huge teams, I get teams of people to do that, and I know my team here knows what I mean because they get really frustrated because I really want to try and respond to everyone on Twitter and on the different social networks and emails and stuff. But I actually do think that you can change the world by showing people that you care, and you show by responding to them and trying to perhaps resolve some of the issues that individuals have. And then when you resolve some of the issues that individuals have, you see where the structural problems are, and then you change the law to change this for everyone. But I think social networks at the same time as being challenged provide a huge opportunity to actually change systems for the better. But for that, you really need to have big nerves and committed teams. I have a committed team, so I'm extremely grateful to them. They do such a fantastic work and they're so committed. But it's tough. It's opportunity at the same time. But I think the politicians are still learning how to navigate that. Being the Prime Minister really means that you make decisions kind of non-stop, really, and with not enough time to really think them through. And so what politicians usually do is that they take time. And to take a lot of time means that you lose a lot of opportunities for your people and for your businesses. So my background in private sector and business and consulting taught me that it's better to make a decision which is wrong, and you know that that you made a wrong decision and a mistake, and then you go back and you correct it, than to just take time. And so I do tend to be very efficient with making decisions, perhaps sometimes too efficient. But then again, we made so much change in the past 4 or 5 years that and then some of those decisions were bad, some were good, but those bad decisions we had time to correct because we saw early on that they're bad and change them. And again, I have a fantastic team. We argue a lot, as I said, which is, I think, a good thing. It's, we don't have, I always dreaded the teams in which you have a groupthink. So I think this, and everyone agrees. I would hate to have that, and I know it would be wrong. So we argue a lot, and out of those arguments we come to, I think, something that is the best possible decision.
Brilliant.
So again, I argue the most with my media advisor. He's there, but we come to the best possible decisions, and I've learned a lot from him through that process. But you have to be open, and then my mantra is that the smartest government is the government that listens to people and knows how to recognize good ideas. That doesn't think that because I'm the prime minister, I'm a big prime minister, and they're ministers, and that we know everything the best. We don't. I think you are smart when you know how to listen and to recognize good ideas. Because besides, you're running the country. You can't know everything the best. In terms of agriculture, justice, economy, trade, tourism, energy. You have to listen to people and recognize good ideas and make decisions and be accountable and say, okay, I'm accountable. If there is a mistake, I'm accountable. It's my fault. And then people they have more courage to make decisions because, again, people are often afraid to be accountable, but we say it's my fault, but let's do this. And then it gets easier. I have such a fantastic team of people. I wouldn't be able to do anything without that kind of, they're so, as I said, they're so committed and they're so smart, and I'm eternally grateful to them for actually, accepting to work in the government, because I know that all of them could find jobs in the private sector that are 20 times better paid and with less work, but they work around the clock, and they believe in the change in the same way that I believe in change, and I think that's a recipe for success. You just find people that are really better than you and more knowledgeable than you in the fields that they run, and I know that all of my people are better than me in the fields that they run, and I learn from them every day. I know when I began, that was the biggest challenge, was to find good people, and I found them, and they're still with me, and I'm so grateful. And now when they talk about things that they do, I don't even understand them, which I'm not sure that I can say that to our media, but it's a bit scary, but I trust them. But really, when you know that people are just way out there, that they have the initiative, that they suggest things that we should do, that they explain why this is going to be beneficial for the country and the citizens, you just know that they run with these things for the betterment of the country. And so I don't really need to manage them. You find people who are self-starters and have that energy and the goodwill to do something for the country. So I don't have. We argue a lot, but that I think brings at the end of the day the best of the solutions. So really, you just choose the best people. I've done that, and I'm grateful that they said yes. Really, there are so many richer countries in Europe than Serbia is, but I think I have the best team in Europe. Really, I honestly believe that. I think any prime minister in Europe would be happy to have the team that I do. So, let me remember the biggest setback that we had. It's tough because, again, as I said, we're making kind of decisions in a very efficient manner, and when there is a setback, we see it early on, and we change those decisions. But I tell you, for example, during COVID, I made quite a bad decision. We had a different number of cases in different local governments, in different municipalities. And so my idea, I saw it in some, we've analyzed other countries and how they deal with that. And, many countries thought about closing down one of those communities where in which the numbers were higher, and leaving open everything in the rest of the country. And so I thought that would make sense, because economically it would have lesser impact. And then in terms of also the mental health of the people, they would see that, it's not the end of the world, that when the numbers are going down, we will be able to live normally again. And I made that decision to really just have very restrictive measures in those municipalities where the numbers are high. But Serbia, as I said, is a small country. So it's easy to travel from one place to the next. And it was actually a very stupid decision on my part, because people just starting going from one city to the next, and then the numbers spilled over. Listen, I felt bad, but in the position of the Prime Minister, you're always questioning yourself if the decision was good. Even if the results are good, could you have made a better decision? So this was definitely a stupid one, and we corrected it, I think, in a timely manner. Well, I beat myself up, at the end of the day because of it. But what can you do? You try to do the best, and sometimes you make a mistake, and you move on. I think my media advisor still hates it, but I said it was my decision. It was a stupid decision. I actually said it was a stupid decision. I apologize. Try to explain to the public why we made that kind of a decision, why I thought it was the best possible decision, based on which arguments I made that decision. And at the end of the day, I literally said it was a stupid decision. And then, we're gonna go back and we're gonna make it right. But I'm not afraid when to say that I made a wrong or stupid decision. I think politicians in general should be more honest, saying, "Listen, I'm just human. You can make bad decisions, as long as you say, And at the end of the day, then people can choose. I honestly think there should be more honesty in politics.
I'm gonna ask you a few quick fire questions, just like one word or one sentence answers, just whatever comes to mind. It's just a way for us to get to know you better. Favorite book?
Dostoevsky, Brothers Karamazov, or the...
So light reading.
Light reading.
Very nice. Favorite Serbian dish?
Burger.
Burger, okay.
But in Serbia, it's really good. It's better than the US, so you should come and try.
Do you have a favorite Serbian restaurant in New York?
No.
No? Okay. Well, when we'll ask your team. We'll do some research. What would you say is like a favorite song for you? Don't You Want Me, Baby? Very nice. Very nice.
It has a political connotation, though, as well. I just realized that, but I should use it for the next election campaign.
It's a good entry song. Last one, your favorite city in the United States? Be very
DC.
careful. I think you meant New York, right?
Yeah. Again, you see, I'm too honest. No, I think New York is just fantastic. When I was younger, I would probably love to live in New York. I lived in London for quite a while, and London really resembles New York. But now, you know, in my kind of older age of 45 with a family, I would actually prefer DC.